Well, welcome everybody. This is Business 101. It's Thursday, May 21st. I'm Dave Rolfe, and tonight we're going to continue on from where we left off last week. So the key to tonight's call was your understanding of last week's call or your lack of understanding of last week's call. So we'll do a quick catch up to make sure that we're all on the same page. And the idea of last week's call was this concept of subproduct. In order to understand what a subproduct is, one needs to understand what a product is. And in business, the product is the thing that's used to exchange for something else. So, for example, Ford Motor Company makes all kinds of cars. So their products would be cars and trucks and things of that nature, and then they exchange those uh, for money. And then they take that money, they plow it back into their business, and if they do well, they make a profit and they pay their dividends, et cetera, et cetera. In our business, we operate the same way. We have a product that we need to produce, but the lack of identification of the product is one of the fundamental reasons for a lack of success. And so in last week's call, we talked about the product being one of two. The first is the retail customer on auto ship. So if you got somebody to buy the products, then that would be a product because you presented them something of value and they created an exchange and gave money for it and you earned a commission. And if we really get down to the nuts and bolts, the reason why people do this business, the majority of the reasons are economic to make more money. So this then means something that you should completely understand. Now, as I was saying, I'm involved with another organization, not to do with network marketing or business, but I have a product that I produce and I look after the staff of this organization. And the end result is that they're well and they're not sick and so on and so forth. So my product are well staff members that can produce a good product and help the organization grow and expand. Okay. So I was asked to create my sub-product list. So another definition, a sub-product is, by definition, those necessary things that make up the valuable final product. So we talked about this. We talked about it in the sense of making a cup of coffee. We talked about it in the sense of making donuts, having a donut shop. And we kind of briefly talked about this with regard to our Niken business. So I thought what we should do is do a very detailed examination of a sub-product list to help you build your business and explain how it works, what you can do with it, and how you move forward. And the whole idea here, and this is really quite simple, is if your business isn't going the way it's supposed to go, then this is a list that you can come back to and evaluate what's in and what's not in. So, in other words, it's a list that lists all of the things that have to be done somewhere along the line to create this valuable final product. Now, I believe Emily was on the call on Monday, and she gave us a valuable final product of $1,500 per month. So that's the example that I'm going to use in this, and I'm going to preface it with this. Her valuable final product, if you were the sponsor, in this case, Leo is the sponsor, her valuable final product is a business that creates $1,500 a month. Now, from the sponsor's viewpoint, Leo's viewpoint, if she made $500 a month, that's not a valuable final product yet because what she wanted is 1,500. So the messaging and the communication is that what's the goal? What's the objective? What's it made up of? What does it look like? And what has to be done to get there? And it would be like, doing the Indianapolis 500 race. You have to do all 500 laps to potentially win. So at at 250 laps, you're 3 laps ahead of everybody else does not necessarily mean you won the race. So what we really want to do is get these definitions down so that you can play the game, because it's the playing of the game that where everything is. So it's the activity, it's the excitement, it's the motivation, it's the it's going out and finding new people and getting them involved and helping them build, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So on today's trip, I'm going to share with you what I created. Now, hopefully it's 100% correct, but there may be some typos because I put it together today. And this is where we're going to go. And can you all see that?
Yep.
Creating your subproduct list.
Yep.
Okay, so define the VFP, valuable final product, a productive independent distributor who's getting what they want as a result of doing the business. For this example, $1,500 income per month is the valuable final product. So, in studying the material that I was using to understand how to put together my subproduct list, it stated to go to the end, go to the valuable final product, and then work it backwards from there. And then that will help you create your subproduct list, and it'll also help you create your to-do list. Well, we did a very, 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 very simple cursory view of this last week, and it really didn't do it justice, as you're going to see that we're going to do tonight. But here we go. So we've got you, and then you can see by this picture, it says you platinum. On the left-hand side, it says 10 retail customers, retail PV 1,000 points, income $200, or rebate income $100. Then wholesale registered distributors, 3 seniors, 0 execs at this point in the scene. You'll see why. Wholesale volume 1,000. Wholesale PGPV is $100. OV 33,000 points. Leaders in your organization 12. CV 20,000. Leadership bonus $1,200. Total income $1,500. So what I did was I went to the end, I went to the beginning, I worked it back and forwards, and then looked at how it could possibly come together. Now, I'm not saying this is going to be the same for everybody. I'm not going to say this is your business is going to be ideal. What I want you to really understand here is the concept of what was done so that then you can apply it to yourself. So I think on Monday we were talking to Emily, and I said the key thing that you want to do with Leo is get a picture of what your goal looks like. And once you have a picture of what your goal looks like, then here's what you know. That's what has to be done to get you the prize. So if I take this down a little bit, so here you are. So well, first off, you see the retail. So this is what you would want to do, probably something close to this in the retail accounts. This is 10 retail customers. Now, it didn't say, I haven't put time in here at all. I've just put the objective. And then here, there's only 3 seniors. There's a lot more that started out, but we utilized some of them in building the business. Okay. So now here we've got this leadership organizational volume, 33,000 points. Now we know by looking at our compensation plan that platinum is 30,000 points. So we've reached that level of rank, but you're going to see that we do not have anybody on our 4th level. We're only down to the 3rd level here. And this is going to come with the video that you're going to be able to print this off and look at it as we go. The only reason rank is important is if it's going to give you the income of that rank. So, for example, what we know is as a silver, you get paid 2 generations of silver below you and their leadership bonus. If you have silvers below you, then that's a good thing. But if you don't have silvers below you, then there's no prize in going gold because it's a title. It doesn't do anything. It generates, it kicks in that you can get paid to the third level, but it doesn't give you any more pay than a qualified silver for that particular situation. So I'm not concerned with rank here. I'm concerned with structure and income and what needs to be done to get there. Okay. So here we got this gold person that went platinum. They did 33,000 points. CV was 20,000. Their income for leadership bonus was 1,200. They had 12 leaders. The average volume per leader was 3,000 points. And let's look at what it looks like as far as the structure is concerned. So here you have your first two people that were sponsored. And then you have leg one, and leg one is the 2A, 2B, 2C, and the leg two is 2D and 2E. And you can see that the direction of growth where it goes. Now, I want to tell you something because this is how it works. I've created a lot of videos that describe how does this business work so that you create an understanding. It grows in depth. It doesn't grow in width. It grows in depth. Now, you can make it grow in width by sponsoring more people, but that does not necessarily mean your business is going to grow. But if you build depth, it grows. It's an interesting phenomenon because it can grow exponentially as well. So let's see what the note says. In this last build, you create 5 new leaders by helping 2A, 1B, 2C, and 2D. Your job is to help these leaders create their new leaders. This will generate 30,000 OV, and you should reach platinum. The above figures also show the potential residual. So if I go back up here, you're up about here. You have 1A and 1B. So those are your two guys. Now, what's happening below that? Well, below that, 1A, he got 3 people in a previous cycle, and 1B got 1 person in a previous cycle. So the focus for 1B is this guy 2E. Now, everybody else is focused on getting another person except 2D. They're trying to get 2. So here's the concept of workability. It's not you doing all the work. It's the work being divided by a number of people. So, for example, in this particular month, you're going after 5 new leaders. Well, take away 4 of them, that means 2A is going to get their 1. So that's 1 for this guy. 2C is getting 1. Above here, you got 1B getting 1 person. And again, 2D is getting 2 people because sometimes people have those kind of resources. And you're going to see when we get to the very first slide where it all starts and how it starts, and then I'll show you the to-do list and then work it backwards, and that's your subproduct list. So, okay, so that's the last position. That's the end result of a period of time. I didn't put months in here in the sense of time frame because that's kind of, in one sense, a little bit irrelevant, but it could be done month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4, month 5. There's no reason why it couldn't. Okay. So now I asked you a question last week, and that question is, well, what's before this? And so I looked at that and I said, okay, so here we just built 4 silvers. So what would be the picture before this? Well, the picture before this is your gold. And you have 7 retail accounts. You don't have 10 because you grew in that piece. You have 3 seniors. You have no executives. Your wholesale volume, let me get rid of this picture, is 1,000. Your PGPV, your override or rebate is $100 there, and your over OV volume is 24,000 points, and your leadership bonus is 820. Your primary leg is 18,000. Your secondary leg is 6,000, and outside the primary and secondary is 1,500. The 1,500 is basically you, and you and what you've got in your wholesale and your retail. Okay. Your primary leg is this guy here, 1A. And there's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 silvers in his group, and he just did 3. So that's 18,000 points. And then this guy here did 1, and that's 6,000 points. Now, separate them all out and look at just one person doing an activity. And that's how you have to look at this, because that's really how it works. It's not you going after all four, although you would be overseeing all four and not at the same time, probably. Okay. So this would be the picture that happened before. So if we go back up here, so we got the creation of 2B, 2C, and etc. And then we get into this picture. Here they are, existing silvers, and they're now creating their new silvers. See, this is how it works. So you come into the business and you do a certain number of cycles of action, and a cycle of action is start, change, and stop. You create results based on who you are, what you know, how aggressive you are, how much you help you get from your sponsor, your economic circumstances, your economy circumstances. All of those things play a factor. And it doesn't really matter the time frame, it matters who you are and what you, and it all boils down to what you do. Okay. So then we come to this picture. We just created these four new silvers. That was the last step. So in this build, you created four new silvers, 24,000 OV, helping 1A, 1B, 2A build. You reach gold. See, this is part of the objective. And obviously 1A is hot. So really get there and help, get in there and help. Remember the VFP rule. And here's the VFP rule. What is the VFP for the person you're building? That's the VFP that you're working on for that person. So if in the beginning the strategy is, well, I need to make an extra $1,000 a month, then their valuable final product is $1,000 a month. You show them a business that's going to generate $1,000 a month, and then you help them build to that. Once they get there, and when they get there, then you've got your valuable final product. And guess what you're going to get from that point on? An exchange. Because that's what they wanted. They're going to continue to produce it. You're going to continue to get the override and leadership bonus income. That's the whole idea behind it. And let me tell you, when this thing works, it is spectacular in how it works. Okay. So now the question again was, well, what's before this picture? And so took that picture and I eliminated what was there. And basically we have this picture. You're silver. In this particular picture, you have 6 retail customers. You got 600 in retail PV. You make 120 bucks, 20% each. You got a rebate of 60 bucks. Then on the wholesale side, now here's where we're starting to see things. We're seeing that you have 3 seniors. You have 1 executive, and 1 became a silver and then produced 6,000 points. Your wholesale volume is 7,000 PGPV. Your leadership volume is 6,000 because this guy broke underneath an existing silver. Your leadership bonus income is 180 bucks. So if you take the 180 bucks and the other incomes and you add them all up, that's your income in this particular month. But again, here's the value. What the value here is, you get to see, okay, there's a progression. And it is building on. In this one here, this is the earlier picture so far. So you have this guy you made a silver. You sponsored a new person who was an executive in your organization, and you helped them go silver. And then you helped 1A get a silver. So you're building the depth, which is what you've learned to do, and you're expanding your horizons so that you can qualify and make sure you get paid, which is one of the rules of the business. All right. Now, again, the next question is, well, what's before this picture? And so if we go to that, let's take a look at this. In this build, you created 2 new leaders by helping 1A, and you're developed your second front level leader. Now you have a team. Your main focus was building 1B and helping 1A build 2A. You got the new retail customer and you earned your first leadership bonus. You could have made it to gold if you push, maybe, because I think you're at 14,000 or 13,500, and gold was 15,000. But again, here's the point. Unless you got somebody on your third level, there's no prize in going gold, because you can't spend gold. You can only spend the money that gold earns you, and if you don't have leaders on the third level, it's a complete waste of time. Let me tell you, I've observed this my whole career. Okay, so now we go on. So then what's before this picture? Well, here you are. You're building your first silver, 1A. You have 5 retail customers at this point in time. You have 4 seniors, and they do 800 points. You've got one exec that is going to go silver and then do that 6,000 points, and you have one other exec that did 1,000 points. So your wholesale volume is 7,800 PGPV. Your income at the average of 10%, $780. So 780 plus the 880, you got $930 here. And I did not add in any of the other incentives yet. They're coming up soon. But this is the prior picture. So this is, you're just starting to get it. You obviously made it to silver. So once you're silver, what's the objective? It's to help somebody in your organization go silver. So that's what's done. So let's see what the note says. In this build, you created your first leader, 1A, who came from your personal group of distributors. Now, as you move forward, the idea is to create 1A into a valuable final product as defined. So you've obviously know 1A, you've talked to this person, you've done, and you'll see the list when we get to the list. You know what they want and you know what their valuable final product is, and that's what you're aiming to do. So if his valuable final product is 5,000 a month, then that's the map that would then go there. And that would be your objective, is to make sure he gets to that end result. The key thing is having your thumb on what to do. So the key thing is to, having your thumb on the pulse, so to speak, knowing what action is going to create what result. And that's what you're going to see as we go through this to-do list and then your sub-product list. All right. So then the question is what's before this? And so we go to this and we come to this picture, and this is your silver run. So here you are, you find 4 retail customers, you do 400 in retail PV, your income is $80, you have a rebate of $40. You have personal use product, you did 600 PV. So between the 600 and 400, there's your 1,000. This is a requirement you're gonna see momentarily. Now, in the process, here's where your focus is. Level 1, you're sponsoring 2 executives and 1 senior, and then underneath in level 2, you're helping these guys sponsor 3 more seniors. So if we look at it in the sense of, we know what the value of silver is, it's 6,000 points. So this will give you just a rough estimate of how to break out 6,000, where that could possibly be. I mean, you could have 2 more seniors or 3 more seniors and eliminate an executive, or you could have somebody that did 2,500. I mean, there's so many different variables. It's hard to whack it down to one exact. I want you to understand the concept. So in this particular case, you've got a lot of people in your open group and your personal group. You've got no leadership yet, which is fine. You did your 6,000 points, and you've met the qualifications of primary, which is the main leg. Secondary was the one outside the main leg. And then outside the primary and secondary is that amount, 500, total of 6,000 points. So if you add that all up, you have 6,000 points, and you've qualified, you're now a silver. So again, if we reverse this flow right now, and this was your first month, well, there's your silver plan. This is how you're going to get to silver. This is a good idea. This could be if you sat down with your sponsor and you did a strategy and you did your admin scale and you looked at the list of people you had and you developed your story and you're all set to go. I would be putting a list together of these 3 people as soon as I possibly could, and I would have them dialed in, and these are the guys that I want to work with. And there would be 1, 2, and 3, that kind of an idea. Essentially, that's what I thought I did in the very beginning. And then you go silver and you create that result. Now, if we work it backwards, okay, after you go silver, what do? You help the first guy you sponsored go silver. Pretty simple plan. And then after you've helped that guy go silver, and you may be sponsoring more people in the senior execs, you may not. And you're getting more retail customers. You can see this growing, okay? And then after that, you got this guy. Now you sponsor your second leg and you help your first get another silver. So it's a con again, this business is built on doing, not waiting, not hoping, on doing. And if you know what to do, it's a piece of cake. So and in the simplicity of it, it's like, okay, for anybody, you start at direct, you go to senior, you go to exec, you go to silver, you go to gold, you go to platinum, you go to diamond, you go to royal diamond. Everybody's on the same plan. So in theory, you already know this. But what you want to do is put it in practice and create it. And the reason why you want to do this is so that you can communicate to somebody else how you're going to help them get what they want. See, this is what this is all about. Okay, so then after this, I helped this 2A go silver and 1B go silver. Maybe I did it in a month, maybe it was 2 months, what doesn't matter. Again, the bottom line is what's next. Okay, so now we got 1A, 1B, and okay, now we got this guy is really fired up. He's got a couple of hot prospects, and we're going to help this guy grow. And then this guy he's going to do the same thing. He's going to duplicate what everybody else is doing. So that's all this is a duplicative action. Then we go into the next month, and those guys, they produce this next group of five, and then we go into the next month, and you're a platinum and you're making $1,500 a month. All by following a line of action and a sequence of events. Okay, so now let's take a look at the list, the to-do list. So then I just took this. Okay, this is your to-do list, which is your sub-product list in reverse. So again, the sub-product are the necessary things that make up the valuable final product. In this case, the valuable final product is that person making $1,500 a month. In this particular example, that's Emily, because that's what Emily wanted. All right. And by the time she gets there, she might up it to 3,000 or 5,000, whatever the case may be. We all have gone there. So once you've signed up and got your product, which is okay, let's discuss this. That's, pretty much a given if you're going to do this business. You got to have product because you got to understand the product, and the product that you get is going to help you qualify, and you got to sign up in order to play the game. So I hate putting those things in as that's what you got to do to get going. We want to assume that that's going to happen and get it going, because if I can't get you on this list, then what's the point? If you're, I mean, again, I've done so many business deals and, where products were involved, and it was just, of course you're going to get the product. That's what it's all about. If you're a franchise, you're going to get the product of the franchise. You're going to buy it and pay for it. Okay. And that's the exchange. Again, really what we're providing the exchange on is knowledge on how to do it. Okay, so the first thing is get instant had it. Well, what do I mean by instant had it? So my wife and I went out of town, and we hired our neighbor, who was a young girl in her teens in high school, and to come over, and she had to take care of the cats, water plants. And so the first time she came over, she got an instant hat of what had to be done before she was going to start. So she had some understanding of what she had to do. So in other words, we sat down with her, showed her the cat box, showed her where the food was, showed her the storage, showed her where the plants. We put little markers in all the plants so she knew which plants to water. Then I created a map for her so that she could follow that map, et cetera, et cetera. And then about 2 days before we were ready to go, we brought her over and did a detailed training with her. So the second time she came through, she she really got what she had to do so we could leave in peace and have a great understanding. So get instant had it. So if you're got a new person, what do we do here? Well, we find customers and we find distributors. It's kind of like where are you used to working? What are you used to observing? Where's your knowledge base? You want to know where this person is at because it's what they don't understand, they won't communicate. And if they won't communicate something, that could be the key to making this work. Next is develop your story. So we talked about this. Well, what's your story? Well, it's the reason why you're doing this that's attractive to somebody else. Now, I want you to think about something here. You may have fixed your big toe when you came into this business by using the products, but that doesn't mean everybody else has a big toe problem. So the idea here is that what you want to do with that is, I had this challenge physically. I didn't know where to go. And I looked and I searched and I found this company that had solutions to many things. And I found a solution that worked for me. And I got so damned excited, I thought I could make a small fortune and away we go. And who am I communicating there to? I'm communicating to a number of different people. But if somebody's interested in making money, which is my criteria of building this business, bingo. It's like Howard. I said, Howard, I found the goose that laid the golden egg, and I found this Japanese company, and their number one product is the sleep system. And in New York, no, what it was, the Life magazine says 50% of the population can't sleep. Well, this is a no-brainer. I think we can make a small fortune. I sent him the product. He tried it for a couple of days. No communication. Called me back, said, I don't know what you got, Dave, but I am in. And I thought to myself, well, isn't that interesting? He was affected emotionally because of the product, but he acted because of the economics. So develop your story. Number 2, 3, learning the comp plan. The biggest area that people are looking for is how to make money. So you better darn be prepared to show them how to make some money. It doesn't have to be a lot. You don't have to tell them how to be a royal diamond, but you want to be able to explain how it works. And so get with your, there's all kinds of videos on Dave Rolfe on YouTube about this. There's many people that can help you, et cetera, et cetera. Start learning about your products. Brand Night, we have the products. It's on the Royal Alliance. You got all kinds of videos. There's a couple other websites. Find the products that you're most interested in, use them, et cetera, et cetera. Again, it's spend some time, understand how it works so that if somebody has a question, you can answer the question. And I sold a couple of waterfall, and I would used to making it work, and I tried to explain how to set it up, and they called me up. How do we set this thing up? Now, there's a beautiful video that does that, so it's just one of those things that because I knew that there was a video, I shared the video, they set it up, and everything was operating. They love it. So knowledge is power and is key to your ongoing relationship with your customers and with your distributors. Do your admin scale or redo as needed. So the admin scale was like a business plan that I got from another area in life, goal, purpose, policy, etc., all the way down to your VFP. There's a tape on it. You can listen to that. And basically, it lines everything you need to do up so that you stay focused. And basically, this came from that. Next is put together your list of people. Then strategize your approach. So get with your upline or your mentor, somebody that you're going to work with, and then, okay, I've got Betty. Here's her situation. This is how I know her. And then let's determine how we're going to approach her. Because I see the biggest mistake people make is they approach people on subjects that they're not interested in, and they get blown away versus spending the time to try and figure out how to get them interested. Make your calls, line up meetings and ABCs, make presentations. Now, prior to making calls, lining up meetings and ABCs, making presentations, I would make sure that my sponsor or mentor was involved in those in 8, 9, and 10. In other words, they had some awareness of what I was doing. They were prepared. They were ready to do an ABC. We had discussed and strategized the people they were going to call. This isn't blind approach here. This is quite methodical. And again, this is your business. And if you do it right, it's a multi-million-dollar business. And if you do it wrong, it's a zero business. So it's highly important to do things the right way. Make your presentations. So I remember I got my kits, I got my products, I went out, I had my list, and I started knocking on doors. And the first 7 people I signed up were useless. Not because they were useless, because I didn't do it right. They bought product, but that was it. And I had to start all over again, and I did. And then so on and so forth, things changed because I learned how to do it the right way. Go to meetings. If you have meetings, go to them. If they're on the internet, utilize them. If you feel comfortable, fine. If you don't feel comfortable, wait until you do. And then it's the next one is sponsor 2 executives. Get your 4 customers. So, okay, what else are we supposed to be doing here? Nothing. Get 4 customers and get 2 executives. And then get them, when you get your executives, to do 1 through 13. Sponsor a senior. Get him to do 1 through 13. Help each personally sponsored build. So this is what I was taught in the beginning. So if I were recruited Emily, she's told me what's $1,500. I just created a map for her. I showed it to her. She's going to create a list of the people that we're going to go. We're going to develop her story together. I'll help her tweak it so that it makes sense and she's going to attract attention. And then we're going to go out and go contact her people. It's that simple. And then because of my position, I'm going to be able to help her. Well, I did this in the very beginning too. I remember the third guy I sponsored, his name was Chuck Michael, and he was a realtor. So he knew how to contact people. He had hundreds of clients. And he did big ticket real estate and leases and all that sort of stuff. But that industry was dead at that time. He saw my ad in the paper, called me up. I was able to relate what I did to what he did. He loved it. So I said, what I'll do is I'll come to your area because he was about an hour and a half away. And you line up for people for us to go talk to, and we'll go see him. He said, okay, great. Well, I went out to see him the following Monday, and he had 20 people a day for the next 2 weeks for me to see. Go figure, eh? So the 2 of us went out, and he had appointments. He'd call them, hey, I'm coming over. I'm going to introduce you to my new partner, and away we go, blah, 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 blah. And in that process, in those 2-week period, he found 3 people. And those 3 people helped him get to the level of gold and on to platinum after that, and et cetera, et cetera. And in the end, he became a professional network marketer, which is really kind of interesting. So you never know what can happen with who you run into. So help each personally sponsored build. Well, here's another reason why you want to do it. Don't forget, if you go back and look at the pictures after this is done and you print them off, your business comes from either the first level, the second level, the third level, the fourth. This doesn't come from one area. That's the beauty of this. It's multiple sources of income. So if you had an organization with 200 silvers in your organization, then you've got 200 people who effectively, when they go out and talk to people, can make you money. That's the concept. Not just one. So it behooves you. I mean, it really behooves you to get up there and help them grow, because if they grow, you grow too. If they don't grow, you don't grow. So the idea here is do 1 through 13. You'll do the rest with everybody as well, but simply repeat any new distributor. And of course, build depth. You've heard many of my calls on building depth. There's nothing more important, because what's good for you has to be good for everybody else. So what I needed to see was somebody underneath me doing the business. Well, what did that person need to see? Somebody underneath them that was doing the business. And then what did that person need to see? Somebody underneath them doing the business. So it's the same viewpoint for everybody. Now, what's fascinating about it, if you have a team of people in your organization structure that are part of your group and you're all on the same page, then there's a community and support. And it works absolutely marvelously. If you're by yourself sitting in your home with nobody else to talk to, it sucks. So you want to have a team. Once you have someone who wants to play, help them go silver and get their VFP. And I would say drop everything else. I would literally say it. So if I've recruited Emily, we get going, she sponsors some people, and she just said, "This is it. I'm going for this. I'm going full time, blah, 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 blah. I've got 20 people for us to go see." I just dropped everything else that I've got to do, and I'm going to work with her until she gets her VFP. And why not? It's like you invest in the investment arena. You buy stocks, you buy real estate, you get rental properties, you buy small businesses. What are you trying to do with those? You're trying to nurture them, make them grow so you can make a profit. So when you have somebody that wants to make you a profit, help them. It's very simple. And then you repeat with any distributor, build depth, make your first downline silver. Always build below a new silver. Always build below a new silver. The lowest rung in the ladder is the most vulnerable. So if that silver doesn't have an active team, that silver will soon die. So you want to get a silver under silver under silver under silver. Create the team. So you got 3 or 4 people that can help the bottom, not just you. Sponsor new seniors and execs always. Always build below a new silver. Once your main leg is cooking, create a second frontline silver. See, this is your story. See, here's where, so again, let's say I help Emily get $1,500 and we do it in, say, 5 months. Now I've got a story. She has a story, but I have a story, so I can go to the next person and then they say, well, I need to make $1,500. Piece of cake. I just helped Emily do that. Let me show you the plan. Because I'd have this plan. I'd have it all in writing. I'd have it in my presentation book. This is the map. This is what we're going to utilize. This is how you're going to get it done. And then again, keep helping the silvers get more silvers. Keep pushing depth. Get everything through 1 through 13, and then eventually get everybody through 1 through 25. Now, if you reverse that, that's your subproduct list. So you could cherry pick what has to be done here. The whole idea is to have that list to do. So down the road in the future, if you're not growing and you're not reaching your goal, then you can look at this list and say, well, what am I not doing? Because these are just all logical sequence. There's no magic here. And I'm not using anybody's style or technique or methodology. It's the same stuff we've been telling people to do for ever since network marketing started, which is kind of funny. Hang on for a sec. All right. So that I'm going to stop the share. And this is pretty good. We've got 15 minutes. So the key to it is for you to have this list and then evaluate your business. What's not in? All of these things are you causatively doing something to make it work. You causatively. So if I said to you guys tonight, all right, put together a list of 100 people. Let's talk tomorrow and let's evaluate your list. How many people would do that? We got one.
Don't have 100 people.
I was going to say 10%, 5%.
I beg to differ. Get your phone book and create a list of 100 people. I didn't say who they were. I just said create a list of 100 people. See, you
Okay.
weren't listening.
You're right. I misunderstood it.
See, here's what we do. We talk to other people and we make ourselves known. We find out what they need and want, and then we present that to them. I didn't have one person that came into the car dealership that I work with that I knew to buy a car. Not one. I didn't have one person in the oil and gas industry that I knew that came and invested in the oil and gas industry. Not one. I mean, the list goes on and on, guys. So again, the key here is if you do these things, you'll get results. And if you get the results, then you'll talk about those to other people. Then you'll show your new people what they need to do to get the results. But if you don't do that and you hope that they get it, my God, it's like having a kid and then not sending him to school and hoping he learns what to do. I mean, it's almost that ridiculous. So this is an action business, not a reaction business. This is a causative endeavor, not an effect endeavor. So we cause things to happen. So when you know what needs to be done, for example, you just made a new silver. It's in black and white now. Well, it'd be blue and white. What does the instructions say? Help him break a silver. Doesn't get much simpler than that. But if you focused on doing that, you understood what activities would help create a silver because you went silver and you did that, then it's easy to pass on. We used to have in the old days, guys would, you got the message came from stage, get to silver as fast as you can. Make a mess, make a complete mess. Don't care. We had to do 20,000, 40,000 points. Make a mess, get there as fast as you can. And of course, then what's this business called duplication all about? Well, it's when you duplicate activities. So the guy would get to silver as fast as he could. And then the next month is, well, what's next? That would be the response. What's next? Had no clue how to build the business. Made a complete mess, didn't know how to tell anybody else, didn't know how to show anybody else, fell fat in his face, and most of those guys ended up leaving and quitting. So network marketing is not a right, it's a business. And we're in sales, and we sell a product, and we sell a service, and we get paid for creating results. We don't get paid for anything else. We don't get paid for looking good. We don't get paid for anything other than selling products. So that was the reality that I woke up to. Because I didn't get into this for anything other than that's what was promoted in 1990. This is a business. And we're setting up distributorships in North America, and then we're going to march around the world. Great idea. I didn't buy a product for myself. Didn't have anything wrong with myself. But I saw other people like the product. Great. I can tell that story just as well as anybody else did. But I also sold Ford Motor Company cars and I never drove a Ford. So people do this all the time when you think about it, and they can be passionate about what they do because they like the effect of what their product does for other people, may not fit them 100%. And that's why you need to be prepared with your story to attract attention to solve their issues, not yours. And that's really the humdinger here, is for you to really get comfortable in finding out what's making somebody else tick. Because that's what they're going to respond to. That's what they're going to join. I mean, I told a story about Michael. He was my next door neighbor. He was very successful. Bought himself a million two home and was expanding it and traveled the world. And what was hiding underneath all this facade was he hated the travel. He hated to travel. But he didn't know where to turn based on his skills and experience. So by chance we started talking. Well, I said one day, well, he said, I'm fed up. I got 250 million miles on my airline credit card, and I'm tired of flying there and blah, 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 away from the family. I said, well, you should do what I do. So what do you think his next question was? What do you do? So with that question, I was then able to say, well, this is what I do. And what for me, it always was I distribute product. Because if I said I'm a Nikon distributor, that means nothing to nobody. They don't know what that means. I mean, you've heard this a gazillion times where what percentage of the population has any clue of what Nikon is? Very tiny. But when I said I'm in the distribution business, they got that instantaneously. And that became intriguing in certain ways because of Bezos and what he did with Amazon and Alibaba over in Asia. So there's two stories that you can talk about that are, this was Madison Avenue back in the early days of filmmaking where they realized if they positioned their products on a silver screen next to a famous actor or actress, also being an actor, that people would buy their product. So if you position your story around something that somebody knows, then it makes it easier for them to understand what you're trying to say to them. Now, it used to be in the 90s that the wellness industry was in the midst of developing. It was going to be a $1 trillion industry. Well, it's already surpassed that and it's already everywhere. Everybody does wellness. Every company, every corporation, every investment house, every hospital, every clinic, everybody's doing wellness. So it's not necessarily the buzzword because it's got some bad connotations as well after time because people take advantage and screw things up. So you really want to look at what's the crux of the matter. And the crux of the matter now is you've got, for example, what do we got? 6 o'clock. I'll end off shortly. You've got Meta, formerly known as whatever that company, tech company was, is laying off thousands of people because of AI. The tech industry is being decimated by being replaced by artificial intelligence. And guys that are well trained, that built our economy, that, et cetera, are being ousted left, right, and center. It's really a crime. So what we're looking at, so what do you think those kind of people want? That becomes the question. So that's where, again and again, how savvy you are with your ability to communicate what we have becomes the key. It's the storytelling. Because that's really what you are as a storyteller. Anyway, I will edit this video and I will send a copy of the document that went with the video so that you can print it off. Each one's on a separate page so that you can put this in your binder. And then you can make further notes as to what each section is. But the whole idea was generalize what's before the last step so that you could, so you go silver. What's next? Who wants to answer that question? You go silver, what's next?
Help somebody else go silver.
There you go. Build depth.
Build depth.
Because it's how does the business work? It works when somebody else in your organization does something. So if you don't have activity going on below you and nobody's doing anything, then then that means that you're the only one that's generating the volume and the potential cash flow. Whereas if you have a team and you build it in depth and you create strength in numbers and you help build their business and here's the other thing. It's motivation too. So if Vivian was on my lower level underneath Emily, and Emily brings in Vivian, Emily's really excited, and she brings Vivian to the table, who's very excited, and I help her go silver. What's Emily going to think of Dave? Exactly. Exactly, Jeannie. So then how does it work? Well, hey, Emily, I need some support at our event this month, whatever. I need you there. Can you call 50 of your friends and have them come show up? Sure. Now, who else you got? Now, I also teach Emily that we just helped Vivian go silver. We're going to do the same thing with Vivian. Who do you know that could go silver, Vivian? We take that person and we drive it down. So I would recommend going down at least 6 or 7 levels before you turn your back. Because the 5 people above the sixth or the seventh people are all motivated that they've got these people underneath them. So what you do is you create your own motivation. And every time I did this, by the time we got down to the sixth, seventh, eighth, maybe ninth level, there was always a hotshot that bought a bunch of product. Everybody up above got to take advantage of that product. So it's a real good benefit. When you go wide, it's only you that benefits from the product sale, you and the distributor. So when you go deep, it's the deeper you go, the more people are affected. And there's your team. And so you got 4 people and they got 2 hotshots underneath them. What do you think those 4 people are going to do if you train them right?
They're going to qualify too in order to get them like themselves paid.
You got it. It works hand in glove here. This all works hand in glove. It's symbiotic if there's a better term. And it's all based on you producing the valuable final product that you identify. So if you have a person that comes in and says, well, I need to make $500 a month. Now, if that's acceptable to you and it works in your plan, then your job is to help them get to that $500 a month. Now, 2 things are going to happen by track record. One, they're going to grow to 1,000 or they're going to collapse to 0. And why do I say that? Well, if they stop doing something that would collapse, if they keep growing, it'll grow. It behooves you. And again, I had a huge organization. I had lots of leaders, and I have to say, not everybody was on the same page. Not everybody was gung-ho to get to the top. Not everybody wanted to spend their life as a committed Nikon distributor. Not everyone wanted to make a gazillion dollars. But there were enough to satisfy what I needed. And that becomes then the key crux point here. This is why your valuable final product is so important for you. And it's basically a mirror image of your goal. Because the reason you're doing something is because your goal and your purpose. And your purpose is really a sub-goal of your main goal. So in the beginning, my goal was $8,000 a month. The purpose was put food on the table. Nothing else. It wasn't some hotty-toddy thing to attain. It was very realistic. Anyway, I'll edit this. I'll make a copy of it. Thank you very much for participating. Thanks for your comments and challenging me. That's great. I love it. And we'll have another topic next week. I'm not sure what it is. If you have any questions, you know how to reach me. And make sure that, Emily, make sure that you look at some of the prior videos on Dave Rolfe YouTube to help give you some more data. But what you got today and what you got on Monday should get you going lickety split. All right, guys.